Today, I want to teach you that critical readers care about getting multiple perspectives. They pay attention to which perspectives get the most airtime, as well as who gets to tell their own stories. They question how authors' choices empower some perspectives more than others. Let me show you how I investigate perspective with Two Countries, No Home, the documentary we watched. I start by asking myself, who's the narrator? Go back to the lesson platform and watch the video again. Watch the first 2 minutes, pausing when you see this text box that reads before the policy was passed. So the question that I ask myself is, who's the narrator? Well, Rufino is the main narrator, although those text boxes also tell part of the story. And then I can think, which group's perspective gets the spotlight? Well, I guess that would be the group that the film calls dreamers. Kids like Rufino who are caught between two cultures. That's the main perspective, because Rufino is mostly telling the story, and the text boxes mostly seem to support that perspective. So, thinking about this text box, I'm wondering, does it seem like it's from the perspective of the dreamers? Yeah, that phrase, opportunities denied to them in America, it really sounds like what Rufino was saying. He felt that he should have been able to go to college since he had gone all the way through school in the United States, but then he was denied that opportunity. So when other narrators come in, it's important to pause and think, is this new narrator supporting the same perspective or introducing a new one? But I should also ask, are there other perspectives we get to know through the film? Let's watch a little more of the video. This time, going back and stopping at Rufino's mother's interview at about 3 minutes. So, Rufino's mother tells us why they went to the United States in the first place. So, the film also spends a little time showing the perspective of parents who bring their children to the United States. That's another perspective. We can also ask, who gets to tell their own stories? Rufino's is clearly the voice that gets the most airtime. His mother gets to speak in her native language, and her words are subtitled so that viewers can both hear her authentic voice and see the translation. This isn't true in all documentaries, though, so it's worth watching for who gets to actually speak for themselves instead of someone else explaining their point of view. The last move is maybe the hardest because it means you have to think about what's not in the text. Are there perspectives that are important to the issue, in this case immigration, that the film does not really explore? Well, when we hear that Rufino tried to apply to colleges in Mexico and was told he didn't have the papers, do we hear at all from the colleges? No. And that means we see this particular issue only from Rufino's perspective. We can assume that the authors of this text agree with or want to highlight Rufino's perspective. It's probably why they made this movie. Readers, did you see how I asked a series of questions to investigate perspective? I want you to think, how did asking these questions help us investigate which perspectives were spotlighted or dominant and which were less dominant or even missing? So I want you to give this a try. Decide on one text that you've already studied that you want to zoom into and rethink more critically. Once you've got that text, read through these questions and consider which voices are heard and which have been silenced, and the effect those decisions have on readers and society. I want you to pause the video and take a few minutes to do this work well. From now on, whatever you read, be critical. Issues like the ones you're investigating are complicated, and you'll want to always be thinking which groups or individuals' perspectives are supported in this text, which perspectives are less supported. Today's your last day to settle on a text that you'll recommend as your final project. You might watch or listen to one you haven't had a chance to experience yet, or you may decide to reread some that you've already read as a way to compare and choose. As one way to select a text, you'll definitely want to think about perspective. Consider this question as you're reading or rereading today. Does the text I'm recommending offer multiple perspectives on an issue, or spotlight a group or individual whose perspective is surprising or important to the issue? Decide what text you will read or reread, and then get started. Off you go.